Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean. I want to talk in this video about the proposed fight between Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Miller. Now, I think I might be in a bit of a minority in the sense that I actually don't mind this fight. I think that under these circumstances and all things considered, it's a pretty decent option. I mean, the ideal fight would be against Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder. But it looks like those two are going to rematch each other, so that takes them out of the equation. Then you've got Dillian Whyte, who obviously everyone would agree deserves a shot at a heavyweight title a lot more than Jarrell Miller does. He's more highly ranked, he's fought better opponents, he's been on a better run, been putting in work for a lot longer, brings more to the table in terms of fans, attention, prestige, all that stuff. So there's no question that he brings more. I mean, he deserves a shot more than Jarrell Miller. But from a selfish point of view, I would personally prefer to watch the fight against Jarrell Miller. I mean, I prefer seeing new fights. I'm not a massive fan of rematches unless it's there's like a big controversy before it or something like that. But I'd just be quite interested to see how Jarrell Miller does at that level, because obviously he's never fought anyone good. He's fought a few sort of domestic level American fighters, and he's sort of beaten all them, and he's passed all those tests. But I actually think he's a pretty decent fighter. To be honest with you, I'd probably pick him to beat Dillian Whyte. I'd pick him to beat Deontay Wilder as well. I think he's quite an underrated fighter, so I wouldn't mind seeing him get an opportunity to show what he can do. Now, I understand a lot of people are going to think, well, this bloke's kind of taking the piss, really. I mean, he hasn't really fought anyone. He's like turning down all these fights, turning down opportunities to become mandatory challenger, and just sort of has this sense of entitlement that he just deserves to, like, a big fight, against the champion without really having to do anything. I can't understand all that, but to be honest, if you think that you've got Wilder and Joshua are going to be fighting each other, Dillian Whyte's been offered the fight. Now, apparently he doesn't like the money. I don't really know the details of that. Maybe AJ and Hearner are being a bit greedy. Maybe Dillian Whyte's being a bit greedy. Maybe a bit of both. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a few people point out that Dillian Whyte has been knocked out by Anthony Joshua, and this is to fight for the heavyweight title. So there should be an element there, at least, of wanting to, get your own back and settle the score against a rival, someone that you don't like, someone that's knocked you out, someone from your own city. So that in itself should be quite a motivating factor for Dillian Whyte to fight against Joshua at this point. Now, if he feels like they're really taking the piss with the money, then obviously that's up to him. I mean, he's worked hard to get into this position. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Let's stick with Deontay Wilder. Let's imagine that Deontay Wilder, for whatever reason, is still the champion. There's no turning back from him now. He can't go back to how he was before he fought Luis Ortiz. People are actually looking at him now. There's no more, just these sort of voluntaries against people we've never heard of. People expect something from him. So he can't avoid people like Dillian Whyte anymore. He's going to have to fight someone like that. So if he doesn't want to fight Joshua, Dillian Whyte could quite likely get a shot against Deontay Wilder if that opportunity presents itself, or Tyson Fury as well, because Tyson Fury, I mean, it's looking like quite difficult at the moment, at least, to negotiate with Fury and Joshua. So there are options for Dillian Whyte, and if he does lose to Anthony Joshua, then it's going to be quite a long road back for him, isn't it? And he's now one of the biggest names in heavyweight boxing, one of the biggest names in UK boxing. If he does take this now and he takes it for very low money, then he has to sort of start from scratch. And he could just sort of think, well, if I hold out, beat Wilder or Fury, and then come back to the table from a better bargaining position, who knows? In any case, that's so Dillian Whyte. Let's imagine that he's out of the equation. Then who else is there? The sort of top level fighter, Povetkin. I mean, he's just beat Povetkin recently. Luis Ortiz had a shot at the heavyweight title like a couple of fights ago. So does he deserve another one more than Jarrell Miller? I don't think so, personally. Now, I'd quite like to see Joshua against Ortiz. I think I think Joshua beat Ortiz a lot easier than Deontay Wilder did, but still be an interesting fight. But who else is there? Joseph Parker, he's already beaten him. Pulev, maybe. But personally, I prefer to see Jarrell Miller. And obviously, then you've got the situation with it being in New York, in America, which would be good for Anthony Joshua to fight in some different places. Not to say he can't come back. Obviously, he's going to come back and fight in London, but to be able to fight around the world a bit as well. Because obviously, I think people lose track because of all the sort of bickering back and forth between fans, especially like sort of UK and Americans. That boxing's a world sport. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have like classic like boxing venues in England and in America, and you can fight in both of them. Do you know what I mean? So fighting in like football, for example, you've got all these classic like places to play. You want to like in England, you got obviously like Wembley, Anfield, etc., Old Trafford, whatever. Spain, you got Bernabeu, Nou Camp, San Siro over in Italy, etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? These are all going like in Brazil, Argentina. You want to kind of play around the world, and there are lots, and we sort of celebrate the fact that there are lots of good places to go and interesting venues, etc., places to travel to. So that's a good thing in boxing that people are kind of lost sight of. So for people like Americans, they shouldn't be like there sort of saying, oh no, it's all like Las Vegas or Madison Square Garden. They should be wanting to fight at Wembley, wanting to fight at places, well, I said the York Hall's obviously a bit small, isn't it? But, classic venues, like the O2 or, the MEN Arena. Do you know what I mean? These are places that you to come and experience that UK atmosphere and get that, that international feel to boxing. In the same way to go and fight like Madison Square Gardens, where Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier, people like Sugar Ray Robinson, Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano. Do you know what I mean? All these classic, legendary fighters. So that, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be one or the other. For Anthony Joshua to get a chance to fight at Madison Square Gardens is definitely something to kind of tick off on his list. So all things considered, I think it's a pretty good fight. Now, do I think it's a competitive fight? Yeah, I do. I mean, we won't really know until Jarrell Miller steps up, but he's a fucking lump. He's got a good work rate. He's more skillful than people give him credit for. He's not a massive puncher, but he sort of wears you down. He's tough. I mean, he just sort of looks solid. I reckon he's got a good chin, and it's probably going to be a hard night's work for him. Like I say, I reckon he'll beat Deontay Wilder stylistically. I can't see. I can't see Wilder beating him. I think that's one of the worst style matchups out there for Wilder. I reckon he'd beat Dylan White. I think Tyson Fury would beat him. I think Tyson Fury probably got the best style to beat him. I think obviously Josh would have to be the favourite, but I think it's a pretty tough fight. And I mean, who else is there? If Dylan White turns the fight down, the only other name left at this point that I'd say, yeah, that would be a good one as well, is Luis Ortiz. But Luis Ortiz is obviously not a matchroom fighter. So if you're Eddie Hearn, who are you going to want to give an opportunity to? Luis Ortiz or Jarrell Miller? I mean, it's a fucking stupid question, isn't it? Obviously, it's going to be Jarrell Miller. So, yeah, personally, if that fight does happen, obviously it's a bit up in the air. For all we know, suddenly, like Tyson Fury could just think, fuck it, do you know what? I'm not going to go to America and fight again. I'm going to fight against Anthony Joshua. I doubt it. What will probably happen is it's going to be either Dylan White or Jarrell Miller. Now, personally, I would be quite happy to see it against Jarrell Miller. So, yeah, let me know what you lot think about it, and thank you very much for watching.